So we will call the meeting to order and start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. No, you.
That contract's for you, Phil.
Oh.
Okay, first order of business is approval of minutes for the October 2nd.
I'll move.
You have a second?
Second.
Any changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty. HS1 is a resolution awarding professional services contract RFP 23MH001 opioid abatement 2023 to 24. This is quite a resolution here with we've got a whole lot of different moving parts there. Nicole, you want to kind of give us an update on this rather than me reading through here? So to start with, it is 100% opioid settlement fund, regional abatement dollars. So there's no local share. So the total, do we have the total of all of the contracts?
In the resolution?
Is it in the resolution?
I don't think it's totaled in the resolution.
Okay, I thought I had it highlighted, but I guess I don't. But anyway, so the parts are Child Advocacy Center, the Northern Oswego Health, also known as Connects Care, Farnham.
There are two for Farnham.
That is Farnham 1 and Farnham 2, yeah, and then the Desens House.
Yes.
Why don't you brief us on this a little bit? It's pretty complicated.
Yeah. It's been a complicated process. So we received the funds in the spring of this year and brought that to committee. So these are provided to us by way of New York State OASIS. And we did the budget modification in March, I think, to receive the funds and budget for the expenses. So we did the RFP this summer, and we received a total of 12 proposals in response to that. 11 of them met the basic eligibility criteria. The review committee met pretty extensively and finalized decisions to make awards for 5 of the proposals, which are in the resolution. So do you want me to talk about the funds a little bit more, or do you want to know about the proposals?
Well, we only have the cover sheets for the contract, so I guess
You want to know about the service?
it's interesting, it would be interesting at some point to kind of have a sense of what each contract is gonna do.
Okay.
But, I mean, the contracts will be available somewhere at some point. So in other words, what are the deliverables for each of these?
Okay, so do you, there's a brief summary that I'll elaborate on a little bit more in the informational memo that should be in the packet that I prepared, purchasing included in the packet.
Right.
So one of the proposals for Farnham is a one-time funding to cover an operating deficit when they took over the Mexico operations, which were formerly Harbor Lights for outpatient substance abuse treatment. So the startup, the ramp up of the caseload was a little slower than they anticipated, which left them with a deficit for 2022. So this award is for one-time funding of $110 to make them whole for that calendar year. So it's a one-time payment to shore up those services out there. Their caseload has been building and they're projecting to not run in a deficit going forward.
Okay. That one was the most confusing one to me.
questions about the one-time funding for Farnham? The second proposal for Farnham is a workforce, strategy, to not only for existing employees at Farnham, but for new hires at Farnham to be able to provide them with training, but also to primarily to provide them with salary while they attend training. So this one's a little bit confusing, but normally, if it keeps Farnham whole when they have an employee that they send for additional training for professional development, they're not in the office providing services, which most of those services are generating revenue for the agency. So this essentially provides funds to the agency to be able to free up staff to be able to go and participate in training hours. I know it's confusing.
Well, it's not confusing, I just think it's interesting to educate their staff, they have to have funding to.
Yeah, well, so I'll back up a little bit around the workforce challenge and why this is even being proposed in the first place, is that they're having difficulty recruiting people who have the credentials prior to starting. So they have people who are interested or are partially completed their qualifications and their credentialing. This allows them to hire them and continue, bring them on and mentor them and have them in a supervisory sort of situation to provide services while they're continuing to pursue their training. The training is oftentimes paid for by different scholarships and other incentives through New York State, but it's the time that they're away from the agency that is the fiscal issue for Farnham. So this allows them to pay people, continue to have revenue coming in to pay a salary for somebody while they're continuing to pursue their credentialing. It's basically because of a recruitment issue, and also to be able to, for some employees that are already there who are looking to take on an advanced position in the agency, they'd like to pursue the training, but they can't take time off from work and not make their salary while they go to training.
It's interesting when they're doing that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a situation that's unique to these years where all the workforce challenges exist. It's not something that they've really encountered before. They've been able to have a pool of qualified candidates to recruit from that already come with the credentialing that's needed. Other questions on the workforce? Third one is Dazen's House. If you're not familiar with Dazen House, they're new in Oswego County, located within the city of Oswego. They are associated with what's the church? Eden Grace.
Yes.
Who's kind of their financial sponsor for them. So they've purchased a house, a large house, and have been renovating it for the past few years. And they are providing different services to women who are in recovery. They are doing some peer services, some coaching services, some drop-in center, and some group work there. A lot of teaching and community service types of activities. But part of their program is also to have a long-term residence for women who are new to their recovery, likely just out of an inpatient rehab, that need to have a supportive, structured place to live, to sort of go from rehab to go into just living in the community on their own, presents a lot of challenges, and a lot of triggers for relapse. So this project that's part of Dazen's House is to provide long-term residence program and peer recovery services. And so they have, their model is to have sober living companions that live there also, and are there to live alongside the two women that are newly in recovery, to be able to provide supports and services to them.
Is that available to know where that home is?
Yes.
Yeah, I would really encourage people to just put Desmond's house in Google, Oswego, and up their website will come.
In social media.
And it is incredibly impressive what these folks have done. Our recovery community in Oswego County is growing, which is a good thing given the issue is growing. So do look at Desmond's house.
I'm sorry, I omitted, asking for a motion to discuss on this one, so, can I ask for a motion?
I'll move.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Alright, thank you,
I don't
sorry.
have to start over, do I?
Yes, you do. No, you don't. But now we can do anything we want, and, so any questions on number 3 there, on the info memo? So, Deason's house, is that how you said it?
Dazen's
Dazen's.
house. Or Desmond's house.
I've
Yeah.
heard of Desmond's house.
Both ways.
Okay. So number 4, that Child Advocacy Center.
Child Advocacy Center, they have proposed to hire a full-time clinician that will focus specifically on caregivers who have trauma history of their own, high ACEs scores. ACEs is Adverse Childhood Experiences. The concept here, what they're recognizing in their work with children that have experienced abuse, and they have a short amount of time that they can work with the parents and the caregivers of those children, and they're recognizing the need for some longer-term available trauma-informed counseling work for those parents to not only prevent maybe subsequent traumatic experiences for their children, but also be able to care for themselves and be able to be better able to focus on parenting and caring for the children that they have. So the connection here with the opioid piece is that the higher the number of adverse childhood experiences somebody has, the greater likelihood that they're going to be using substances or at risk of use for substances. So the more that we can support the parents that have those experiences themselves, we're gonna have a greater likelihood that they're not gonna use substances and likewise not contribute to additional traumatic events for the children in their care.
Yeah, my recollection is that the numbers are pretty staggering, that children who are in these kinds of really traumatic situations as youth are amazingly more apt to become addicted to something later.
So that their proposal is for one full-time clinician to be dedicated to that, a caseload of caregivers with high ACEs scores.
Any questions on that one?
No.
Number 5?
Connects Care. So Oswego County has one of the, I believe it's the second highest number of newborns born with an opioid dependency in New York State. So this is a significant issue for us. This is one of the specific things we identified in our RFP, and Connects Care is responding to that by adding some additional interventions to their current operations as far as screenings and identifying women at risk, women of childbearing age who are at risk of substance abuse or are enrolled in their own substance abuse program, as well as some community health interventions and community nursing to provide additional support and services to women with a substance abuse, with an addiction, who are currently pregnant or have recently delivered a child. So the idea here is to bring those women into treatment, keep them in treatment while they're pregnant, so that we don't have children who are born addicted to opioids, which creates for those children creates a lifelong deficit.
Yeah. Wow. Any other questions? Okay, we have to amend the resolution, to correct one of the sets of numbers in the resolution. So in the, now therefore be it resolved section of the resolution, it says for a one-year contract up, in the amount of 108 to begin January 1st, 2024, renewable for an additional 4-year contract. And that is, that's the Child Advocacy Center one. Okay, so that number needs to, be amended to 105,354 for each year after, needs to read 104,354.
105,354.
The draft right now reads
Is
104, it was a typo.
Oh, okay,
So it needs to be 105.
so this, okay, this one is the corrected one.
Right, correct amount is the 105,354.
So we're changing it from, I don't know, 104,354 to 105,354. Okay. So, I'll look for a second on that motion to amend.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to amend that number?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any other questions then for the amended resolution? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big chunk. We have to add them all up, so I know what the total is.
I think it's about 590 and change.
Yeah, we'll find a number. Thank you. Okay, HS2 is a resolution awarding professional services contract RFP 23MH002 for OMH supported housing. So it's good we still have you at the table. This is an amount not to exceed $835,000. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about this one?
This is an existing service in the county. A mental hygiene division for several years operated this program directly. In 2018, we put it out to bid and it was awarded to Oswego County Opportunities. They've been operating the program since then, and this is a renewal RFP, although a little bit late. So Oswego County Opportunities is the current provider, and they were the sole submitting proposal. And we have had no concerns with their ability to operate the program, and are happy to award it to them again. So this is a stipend, 100% OMH, New York State OMH funding. It provides financial assistance to adults who have a mental illness to be able to reside in an apartment or a living situation of their choosing in Oswego County. It provides staffing support and housing support services to those individuals. There are 65 what they call slots, OMH calls slots, so they can serve 65 individuals at any given point in time.
I'll look for a motion to discuss.
So moved. Second.
First and second. Any questions for, anything like that?
So we're talking 65 people in different locations or the same?
No, different locations they choose, an apartment, or maybe they're renting a trailer in a
And the program will set up the financing or the paying for the rental, and then a stipend for them to live off of, or?
No, it's, the financial assistance is a rental stipend, from a monthly rental stipend. The individual is expected to contribute to their rent and utilities 1/3 of their income. And that's, so there's a calculation, it's not the exact same amount for every person, it's
Right.
based on financial need. And then the program pays the other 2/3 directly to the landlord. There are funds also available to help somebody set up a living situation, if they need bed, kitchenware, living room furniture, bedding, that sort of stuff. There are dollars for startup funds as well.
Do we know the cost per person, I mean, do they use a total of 835,000 between 65 people for the year?
Yes.
Well, there's case management and stuff.
Yeah, there's staffing built into that amount. That's not, all of it is not spent on rental stipends.
These are very chronically mentally ill people who without this care would probably be homeless, to be honest with you, because the state doesn't really provide housing for this population. So intensive case management is a big part of supported housing.
So those supported houses, there's one down on, I wanna say, down towards Brightback. There's a house that has a lot of people living in that same, okay.
Now, this would be typically one person,
One apartment,
one small apartment,
okay.
and it's, financially, it's run like our HUD,
Correct.
Housing out of Planning Department. If you're familiar with that program, it's just targeting seriously mentally ill with, case management and a stable home.
It's not a group or congregate
So this is
setting.
totally separate then from, you're saying HUD, this is something that's just for the mental, cause I know where he was heading with this, cause I see it every day, cause I take care of apartments, but I'll get into that later on the other side.
So I have, the budget that they have in front of me is, so 227,000 in plus is for staffing. The rest of it is for, there's some other program and admin expenses, but then primarily, direct client expenses.
Okay.
Any other questions? This is, taking care of people that are, basically almost not able to take care of themselves. Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
HS3 is a resolution authorizing budget modification in Department of Social Services, employment and training, individual training accounts. This is in the amount of $60,000. Sorta sounds like we're just, moving money from one account to another. Department of Employment and Training has issued more, ITA scholarships than originally budgeted for, and fewer on-the-job training, requests. Therefore, it's a shift in the WIOA funding for planned services. I'll look for a motion to discuss.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, hi,
Hi.
how you doing?
Just a movement, like you said, of WIOA funds from our original on-the-job training, line to our scholarships. We ended up this year having a lot more scholarships and requests for those, especially in the month of August, for those starting either with City BOCES, or we had, a lot with nursing programs with St. Joe's and Crouse, more than we had originally thought, and had, ample funds budgeted in our on-the-job training line.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, keep up the good work on that end. HS4 is a resolution authorizing budgetary modification, additional hours for the Office of the Aging. I'll look for a motion to discuss.
Also move.
Second.
We're gonna second too? Alright. Go ahead, Sarah, can you tell us about that? This is the one that came in a little bit late there, right?
Yes, I do apologize for that. We, each year when open enrollment for Medicare comes around, staff work hours over the 35 hours per week, and they generate comp time to be taken off at a later date. We're finding it harder and harder to be able to take that time off, as well as their annual leave, because of the demands of their job. So we did have some additional funding in our budget in salary and wages from 3 vacancies that we had. So we'd like to take that money to help alleviate that issue so that there's not more time that they have to take off in 2024, that they are able to.
And that's in the amount of 1,500,
Correct.
so, no budget impact,
Right, there's no negative
no
impact.
negative budget impact. Alright, any questions? I did get a first and second on that, right?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
HS 5. It's a resolution authorizing a budget modification, Department of Social Services, other supplies and expenses for non-federal JD Pins foster care expenses. It's the amount of $109,510. Look for a motion to discuss. Got Jay and got a second from Paul. Thanks. Okay.
Okay, as you may recall, it is probation and the county attorney's office that places juvenile delinquents as well as PINs. The state no longer reimburses the county for any PINs placements. This was a PINs placement through the county attorney. We have for you in the informational memo so you can see what the spending have been. I was so pleased that we never placed any PINs kids in 2022, but here we are in 2023 with one. We are the PINs diversion, DSS, so we plug a lot of services in to try and divert PINs placements. We're not involved at all with JDs, but for both of those categories, we pay the bills. And this was an oversight where we needed to get some money in order to pay this bill. So my apologies for it being tardy.
Well, at least we made it to the packet, so.
It did make it to the packet.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We are moving on to our reporting departments, and we're gonna start with that today.
So the month of November, currently we have a table event that's gonna happen up at Cayuga College on November 7th. So we're gonna sit at a table up there and hand out information to the college students. There's a luncheon as well that day, or on the 9th, I'm sorry. And then also on the 9th, I'm going to Fairgrave Elementary School to talk to the kids and their veteran parents and stuff. November 13th, there's a luncheon at SUNY Oswego. Veteran benefit information event up at the Central Square American Legion is going to be on November 19th at 10 o'clock. We put out a flyer and a news release. It's open to all veterans, their family members, anybody who wants to learn about VA benefits, what we offer. We're going to talk about medical compensation, pension, survivor benefits, education, and then answer any questions they might have about the PACT Act. We got our new laptops in, so by the end of this week, hopefully we'll be set up to where we can become more mobile. We're having more and more veterans contact us from nursing homes and living facilities that they can't travel, so we want to be able to go to them. So we got the laptops in. That way, each of us has our own instead of just having one for the office. And lastly, I was contacted by Tioga County. There's an organization out there called Onward Ops that we're going to get involved in with them. Onward Ops focuses on military personnel who are about to get out. So about 6 months before they ETS or before they retire, Onward Ops contacts them. We become sponsors, and we just kind of help guide them through the paperwork. So that way, the issue has been in the past, you weren't allowed to file for VA compensation or anything until the day after you got out of the military. and then you had to wait 6 months to a year before you started receiving that monetary compensation, and a lot of the veterans were ending up in a tight spot. They were ending up homeless, losing their cars, losing their house because they needed that money. So the VA got it to where now we can file for them prior to them ETSing up to 6 months out. So that way, if we file at the 6 month point when they get out, their claim may already be settled. So the very first day that they are a veteran, they will start receiving payments. So Onward Ops is a nonprofit organization, and it doesn't cost us anything. They're going to train us for free, everything we do. There were 6 counties involved. They're trying to expand it to 10, and our county is one of those 10. So there's a lot of stuff in November going on right now.
That's great. Any questions? Good stuff, thank you.
I get
Okay,
one more.
oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for working with that person I call up about her husband didn't get a flag and all that. And Frank Ashley, our other legislator, thanked me through you that you did a very good job, and she's happy, and she got her flag after her husband died. And he was pleased with your work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. We do our best.
Enjoyed that.
They're doing good, thank you. Okay, Youth Bureau, Brian.
Alrighty, you should have a packet, or I'll give you one if you don't, that came in. There's some stuff in there, our Imagination Library, Sally Parton information is in here. It's continuing to grow, so that's a reminder. We have our new program through the Splash Indoor Water Park that you'll see in here, and that's for county kids. It's a reading program where if they read and there's tracking information, they can earn a free pass to the new Splash Indoor Water Park. So that is in there. There's some information on our Youth Advisory Council, the Fall Festival coming up in Fulton this weekend that we are a part of, the Christmas Express Parade that will be coming up, that there's a rumor Yukon Cornelius will be there this year. That's a part of what we have there. And then also, November is National Prevention Month, and you're going to find some Oswego County statistics on there. So that's some information that you can have for yourself as well if people are asking you about homelessness in Oswego County. There are some stats there for you. Aside from that, our bathhouse at Camp Serby, we had the pre-bid meeting and we're waiting for bids to come in on that project, and hopefully all goes well. We'll get that moving here at the end of 2023. Our ready projects, the Camp House Shoreline, we had a pre-construction meeting last week, and they anticipate having a lot of the initial construction work done by the end of December and final completion by June 1st. Our house winterization project, they expect that to be done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. All the duct work has been completed and the contractor believes it'll be done soon. Let's see. We have a few holiday different events happening coming up in the next month or so. The Handball Family Christmas Party, December 1st. We're part of the Fulton Tree Lighting on December 9th. What else am I going to tell you about here? Our pros program at the middle school is really picking up momentum. I think we have 9 students we're working with right now. So that is again an alternative to suspending our youth when they get in trouble at the middle school. We have our Laker Hockey Night coming up this weekend. So far there's 107 kids registered to attend for free, and we had our trunk or treat this past weekend at the Speedway, and we served 4,033 kids.
Wow.
So that was a little bit crowded for that one. But
Sounds like they came too twice.
Can I have one of your packets?
you can. Give you one. Thank you.
You got your candy to hand out. Oh, that's a chance.
I just, I know when we did the anti-poverty task force, one of the findings, most important findings we found was that, when children read by 3rd grade, at grade level, their future is a lot brighter, their chances of success and graduation has really increased. So this imagination library program has really taken off, and you know, any families that have kids between age 0 and 5 years old, it gets them free books right up until they're in kindergarten. And then, nice to see this, the other program here with the Splash, that's pretty cool, cause it's, pretty much one of the things that we think is gonna be the best ways to end generational poverty, is to make sure that, that kids are reading at grade level as they get to, high school.
The Splash one too, where some of the schools are starting to tie into that one as well, so we're hoping some of the teachers take the initiative to
Good,
go along.
good stuff, thank you.
Where do they get the papers? They can print them offline?
They can, it's on our webpage, so they can print them offline, or if they scan that code as well, they can do that too.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Sarah, Office of the Agent.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing we've been dealing with is, a lot of my staff have been ill. So when Stacy says 30% of her staff, 30% of my staff is almost my full staff. So we're on the mend, but, we did have some slowdowns in our office because I didn't have enough staff to do all that we needed to get accomplished. But we're moving ahead now, we're on the mend. We are in the process of conducting our 2024 public hearings, for our plan for services. We, had one in Fulton last week. Today at 1:30, it was at the Health Department building, and then next week we're gonna be in Plasky. At the Fulton meeting, one of the common themes was homelessness and housing. That was a concern. So we take the information that we receive from the public hearing and then see if the money that we're spending on services is where we should be spending it, where OFA doesn't have any funding for housing. That is something that we will, try to work, where we do sit on coach and other housing initiatives to make sure that the issues are addressed as best as they can. So, even though there's a lot of housing that has come into the community, there still is, you probably see people on the side of the road carrying their bags, and that still is an issue. Sometimes it's their choice, but it is an issue in the area, and that was something that came up. We are gearing up for HEAP. We've been working on HEAP for the past couple of months, but Wednesday is HEAP opening day for anyone who is new to HEAP, so we're gearing up in the office for that. We also continue to have staff in the community to be able to assist people who can't come into our office, who need that assistance to complete the applications. So we're out and about throughout the county to alleviate transportation issues that they might have. Our Santa for Seniors program, we're accepting nominations for seniors. So in the information that I provided to you, there's a nomination form there. It's also online on our website, clicking on downloadable forms so that other people can be nominated for that. We had to postpone our day of yard cleanup with the City of Oswego club hockey team due to some internal issues there. They had to postpone it. We're trying to get another day, which it kind of worked out, because on October 15th there weren't a lot of leaves on the ground. There's lots of leaves now, so I know that there is a big SUNY-wide event coming up this weekend on the 5th, and we're going to try to hopefully get our event afterwards. So we had 16 seniors that requested assistance for that. We have scheduled our caregiver luncheon for November 15th. I'm targeting 20 caregivers who are already accessing our services. They'll receive a meal. It's going to be at the country club. Elizabeth, our caregiver coordinator, she did all the fundraising for it, so it's not coming off of anything, in the tax base or any of our services. It was fully, fundraised to be able to provide this to 20 caregivers. And this is the first one we've had in a number of years. November is caregiver, National Caregiver Month, so we're tying that into that. We've also been providing mini senior fairs at all the senior housing buildings, where it's great when you have a big senior fair, like Senator Mannion had one, and there was one in Fulton, but we're doing them, targeting them right in the community rooms of the senior housing. Tenants can come just drop in. We have a small little group of service providers that are coming in. They have information to share with the residents of the building. It's been very well received. Lots of participation of the tenants in the buildings.
Got a little tight there at St. Luke's, so.
Yeah. Yeah. We, also in your packet, I put in our Alzheimer's caregiver consultation day. The Alzheimer's Association is in our office once a month, the first Wednesday of every month. They are taking appointments, so if there's no appointments, then they won't be there. But they are they've dedicated a day every month to come in and offer that service to our caregivers. And then I was on a conference call last week where the state is offering up the state office for the aging is offering some supplemental transportation money. They're working with Go Grandparents. The contract is with them. They're giving us the money. We decide how we want to utilize it. And they said, let them know whether we want it or not. And I'm like, who would say no to that? But what we're gonna earmark it for is to transport seniors who have doctor appointments out of the county. Cause that is an issue. Any of our transportation we have does not account for out of the county, so it'll be to get the people, our seniors that need to visit their doctor in Watertown or Syracuse or Auburn, so they can get there. So, that's really all that I have. I don't know how much we're going to receive. The state is waiting to see how many counties respond to it, that they want to participate in the program. Once they know that information, then they'll divide it up between the counties.
Thank you. Any questions for Sarah? Okay, Stacy, you're up.
Everyone received my report. Personnel, child support enforcement, child and family services, financial assistance programs, home energy assistance program, HEAP, SNAP, and timeliness of case processing. I think on page 3, the timeliness of case processing is a heads up for us as local districts that if we're not staffing SNAP and temporary assistance appropriately in order to get these cases turned around within the federal and state timelines, there will be sanctions in the future, which is why in the letter, I quoted out of here, New York State OTDA advised commissioners to, quote, impress upon county leadership, unquote, the importance of being provided the resources needed to keep current with applications for services. So I have done so. And of course, as I've reported in the past, one of our issues in being able to recruit and retain social welfare examiners is the pay. So I, along with typists and account clerks, those are the other two that we just can't compete with a competitive wage. So I just put that out. I am waiting patiently for the Burke study to kind of take a look at what that study will say. So, does anyone have any questions about anything in my report?
So I You mentioned in here, you're at what, 78% then? Of your.
For personnel, for our vacancies?
No, for SNAP
Oh,
cases?
for SNAP cases?
For administering the SNAP? Is that what I'm reading?
Is that under the SNAP 90, where do you see?
Well, under, it says, let's see, for August 2008, state average percentage for SNAP cases approval within 30 days was at 78%. For Oswego County in August 2023, 78%.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we were at 78.
Yeah, 78% of our SNAP cases were processed within 30 days. Yep.
And how many does that include? I mean, like if you were processing SNAP, are we looking at how many cases in a month?
I shouldn't have put my laptop away. I don't wanna quote data, that is not embedded in my brain, and that's one that's not embedded. So, I can put together, actually, I don't even have to put it together, I can send you and members of the committee our chart on where we're at with all of that. We get monthly reports on timeliness, Gidget puts it together in charts so that she can track everything. I can give you more data than you probably really want. What I can tell you is, it's probably thousands that we're touching every month.
Okay.
Whether they're calling the call center, because there, is an issue, a change in household, whatever, or whether it is a, walk-in because they've lost their EBT card and they need a new one, or whether it's an application, even if they're not eligible, we still have to go through all the eligibility determinations, send all the letters saying you're not eligible.
So if someone loses in their card, or if they have other issues with what they did with it, is there a way to, does that number get into that 78% even though they've already had their allotted money?
No, not in timeliness, but
Okay.
so for applicants, we might still be over 1,000 for household members at least, all the people that are being touched. And again, I don't wanna guess as to how many applicants every month. I
So
have
these
all
are
of
new
that, though.
people, or do they have to every month they have to redo it?
No, these would be new applications. They might have fallen off of SNAP and now are reapplying. That's particularly true at this time of year with people who work seasonal jobs.
Any other questions? Just so, has it been announced, that we're gonna meet next week to do budgets?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are we meeting with?
It's a committee, it's a special committee meeting.
With us?
So just our jurisdictional committee?
Jurisdictional committee
Okay.
to approve budgets for each of the departments.
Will we still then meet with F&P at some point, or?
Well, they're gonna have their own special meeting too, so you, put that on your radar.
It's the same process, we just didn't stick it in the normal meetings just because, last year we were here till like 6 o'clock at night trying to get all of them done after a regular meeting. So we're doing it in a special meeting.
That'd be, instead of, next week,
So it'll be-
next Monday, same time.
So we've been only invited to a budget meeting once. Would we receive another invite at some point with F&P?
I'll have to talk with Betsy. I know she wanted to, I'm gonna be making agendas for that, so I'll talk with her to see if we're
Okay.
gonna be sending out agendas and how we
Yeah, I
do it.
would put that on your radar in case there is questions that FOP has.
Right.
Typically, this might not, so
Right.
I would say yes, you're gonna get invited to that too.
So the
Okay.
They'll probably be in the big house over here.
Please. It's really
Hot.
hot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So this is just for the jurisdictional committees.
okay.
right, so Monday is the jurisdictional committee, but I think, is it gonna be Thursday, or what day is the F&P committee meeting, is it?
This
That was-
week,
That was the schedule we talked about. I don't know.
Yeah, cause
what
election
she's-
day moved everything back a day.
Right, if you were normally a Tuesday
It's a Wednesday.
committee, that would go to Wednesday, and then
Yeah.
Thursday will be that F&P.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the process is gonna be the same, we're just doing a special meeting to do it.
Right.
Yeah, and Rachel, did you see my email? Are you coming to Human Services or Economic Development, do you know?
She just all figure I'm coming here starting Monday,
Um,
Tuesday off, come on back.
you're, the new department is going to be under, economic development, yes.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be under our jurisdiction.
You should get clarity on that.
So that's,
Okay,
But you're welcome to come to our meeting.
sure.
Sure, why not? It's fun.
no, but, heads up, we'll go ahead and, do what we can to put out on the table our side of the house, because a lot is moving over underneath Gidget's umbrella, and,
Yeah, we may talk about trying to get together in a separate room beforehand. We just, Jim, we couldn't have the whole committee because it'd be a committee meeting. But Jim and Jay and I met with Phil to go over the 4 budgets for an hour before we got to this meeting today, so, I'm quite certain you'll all get copies of the full budget pretty soon. I think Phil said he just finished it, but he had some computer
And
glitch.
then after next week's meeting, then when we go over the budgets, then after that we'll get the full budget. That's it.
No, but you're gonna need to see a budget before the meeting so you can prepare yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So, we'll make sure that those
Right.
get out, and, did any of you, did a couple of us wanna meet with Stacy afterwards, or we'll
Yeah,
save
that's
that?
fine,
Pardon me?
that's fine.
You would like to?
I'd like to have the budget before
Well, that's what,
I'm looking at.
we had a couple of questions, so it would just be, cause we can't do it with all of us
No,
for now, so, once we adjourn then, the 3 of us will meet
Yeah.
with Stacy just for a couple of minutes,
yeah, fine.
alright?
since, some of those are staffing asks, and, Marty does the personnel side of our house,
Yeah, absolutely.
HR,
Yeah.
Marty will stay on,
That's why she's here.
that is why she's here.
So
Listen,
Thursday's F&P won't have anything for budget though, this Thursday's.
this Thursday, there's not gonna be budgets
No.
at
Okay,
right?
cause I got a conference, so I don't wanna come back for it.
The special F&P, committee meeting will be to go approve all of the budgets that go to them
Right.
after we approve them at jurisdictional committees.
Okay. So like the 10th year in a row, the UPO conference falls this same week, you normally have to go back and forth, so Thursday I won't, if I don't need to.
And we set it for the next meeting next week, so we can just address the budget for
Yep.
this committee, so it should go over smoothly.
Alright, I will look for the appropriate motion then. Motion to adjourn, got first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much.
Sarah?